Welcome back to another episode of Marketing Girly by Sky Society. Today I'm chatting with Susanne Ault. She is the Vice President of Features and Events Programming at Variety. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. Hi there.
I'm excited to have you on and go through your career journey. Suzanne is very extra special because she's been at Variety for over 15 years, which is absolutely incredible. And she's held a variety of roles during her time there. So I'm really excited to hear your perspective from being at one company for a long time, working at Variety, and especially on the event side. So excited to jump into all of
Yeah,
that. But before we do, can you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do?
sure. I oversee the thought leadership event programming at Variety, and that means I get to program a lot of our conferences and summits as it relates to informing people about the entertainment industry, film, TV, sports. A lot of that does tie into marketing. That's a big part of why the entertainment industry can be successful is reaching the right audiences. We also work and do fun things with other brands. We recently were at Cannes Lion and did some fun programming with such brands as Canva, Google, and Uber. And then a couple of years ago now, I've taken on a role within features where that is kind of working within the storytelling at Variety. And it's a good fit because a lot of times our features may tie into an event where it may be some sort of an impact list where we're profiling important people in the sector, lawyers, business managers, what have you. And then those people are invited to an event that I'm producing. So it's a big
Amazing.
universe.
Okay. So, for those of us who might know Variety just from the magazine, can you tell us, like, how do events play a role or how do features kind of play a role in Variety as a business? And, like, what do those look like?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they think of Variety as a magazine. And in my time, we've just grown to be so much more than just that. And a lot of that has to do with our events. And we kind of put them under the term live media, where we see these all as stories and storytelling and conversations. But instead of reading them and seeing a person's byline, we are putting the people that you might interview on stage. And a lot of times the moderators are the journalists and they're just asking the questions, getting to the truth of whatever the situation is in front of a live audience. And it's great because we're able to get into a lot of topics even deeper than we would in a typical article. We go to different festivals. Cannes Lion is one that we did in June. In January, I'll be at CES. So with all of that, it's just a way to kind of increase our reach to audiences.
That's amazing. It also sounds like a ton of fun. It sounds like you get to have a lot of variety in your work
Yes.
and do a lot of different things within events. Since you mentioned like you're getting to go to all of these cool places too to host these summits, which also sounds like that'd be a ton of fun.
Yes. And I would say one thing that I have learned too is that more and more variety is helping other brands with their amplification and reach. A key example might be our partnership with Canva.
Absolutely. Okay. I might want to come back to that and just pick your brain more on
Yeah.
what those look like. Cause I think for a lot of the listeners of this podcast, they probably all use Canva or have used Canva.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that'd be
Big
fun to
now.
chat about. But I do wanna take a step back. So your career, I know working within the media or entertainment space is really exciting. I know
Yeah.
a lot of our marketing girlies would love to be in that industry, but there was a time when you weren't working here. So I want to
Yeah. No,
rewind
I've
the
had a
clock.
bit of a journey.
Yes.
I won't say the year, but I actually started my very first experience with Variety. I was an intern. I wanted to be a reporter, and I thought, and Variety at that time was a great spot. But with the way the industry is, I was really young. I look young, and it was just hard to get that staff job at Variety. It wasn't. I just felt like it wasn't going to happen, and I needed to get health insurance, right? I needed to become an adult. So I left Variety and I got jobs at other publications such as Broadcasting and Cable, which I don't think exists anymore, or it might be online only. The Billboard, I was writing for Billboard, and then I was at another magazine, Video Business, and it folded. It was at a time when journalism was kind of figuring out how to make money online or have that digital component work. And the magazine folded and I had to figure out what to do. But at the same time, I saw or someone reached out knowing that I had lost my job at Variety and they were like, why don't you interview with us? We're starting up a conference division. And I was like, oh, I know what conferences are as a reporter and covering them and going as a reporter and writing stories at places like CES. But I didn't know what that would take to build conferences, be part of that kind of a team. But it was great when I went in for the interview, I was able to kind of, in the interview, I realized it's very similar to being a reporter producing a conference, at least on the programming side,
Mhm.
because you still need to be a very curious person just at the most basic level in terms of what do I think people are going to want to learn more about? What are the hot trends? What are the hot topics that I would want to read about? But instead, like see live and trends on any topic. I'll take marketing. Those often become my panel discussions. And then I kind of want to determine who would I want to, tell me about this. Who are the experts in the various fields and who are the most dynamic people from the, biggest brands, recognizable names that I think people would want to hear from. And those end up becoming the speakers. And
Yeah.
then from there, the speakers, you kind of work with them and tie them in with our journalists. And I think I'm also able to help the journalists with ideas for questions and how best to kind of work a panel as a moderator. So that's also kind of my reporter background has come in very handy.
Interesting. Let me
Yes.
ask you real quick. So, you mentioned that you wanted to work at Variety. It was hard, like, and you were
It was
struggling. And
hard. I was
again,
in the wrong time, wrong place at that time. Yeah.
yeah, but I think that's so great to share because I think there's a lot of us that you might have a dream job that you're trying to work for and you might be applying and it just might not be working out, but that doesn't mean it's never gonna work out. Like you mentioned, not a good
Oh,
time. You had to
yes.
go get that experience elsewhere, and that opportunity came back around, and it found you this
Yeah.
time versus the other way around, which
Yeah,
is
and
incredible.
all those friendships that I made at every job, all the publicists, when you're booking speakers, you're often going to like the PR team to vet, and all those so many of those publicists are still working today. They might be at different jobs, but they know who I am, and so they're like, okay, we know Suzanne, even if it's been a few years, we know that we can trust her
Yeah.
to place our speakers so they'll be successful.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And then at this time, because you mentioned, like, you didn't really understand what this role was in conferences when you took it. And you were a
Yeah.
reporter and you were a reporter before. So, what at that time in your career before you accepted this, what
Yeah.
was your, like, career path that you were envisioning or your dream job?
I mean, I think just even going back when I was at UCLA and being in LA, I was just mesmerized, I think, by entertainment and media. I didn't really know like how I could make an impact, but I loved, watching TV. I loved going to movies. And I think through taking some internships, I didn't have the stomach to make TV or film because it is a lot of rejection and heartache. You put a lot in and sometimes it doesn't come to fruition. But I kind of thought, okay, so I'll be more behind the scenes. And I felt, maybe I could just write about it. And that's kind of got me into writing and being an intern at Variety. But I think ultimately, I think that I'm better at producing programming live media than I was as a reporter. I think I love to talk to people and kind of get their deal and hear what they're all about. But I didn't like the deadlines of writing stories. Because sometimes it's like you have, and now it's even now where social media is more important than when I was coming up. You have to get these stories out in like 2 seconds, and
Mm,
I can't work. I can work fast, but I don't. I did not like working that fast. I mean, I think there was maybe a little bit of a transition of you're giving up the glory to your journalists that work at
mhm.
Variety because they're the ones on stage. I'm not on stage, but I feel like it's enough just having the relationships with the speakers, knowing these companies, knowing my reporters in
Yeah.
kind of a fun way. I think I get great joy in being behind the scenes. It's just better for my mental health.
I think that's so great to hear just
Yeah.
because I think we can all have an idea of what like our dream job might be, but the reality
Mhm.
is like it might take things that don't excite you or that aren't a good fit for you.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay that a specific job isn't meant for you because you found a path that, like you said, I
Yeah.
got to be more behind the scenes, but I was still doing the things that I love. But sometimes we don't know that those roles exist yet because we only know like the big flashy titles of like the
Yeah.
things that are the most popular. And so I love that you're sharing that insight of kind of like, yeah, what you thought this thing would be. And it was, yeah, not the right fit for you. But then you pivoted a bit. And obviously,
Yeah.
you've had a long career at Variety doing something that made more sense for your skill sets and what you liked.
Yeah. No, it's been great, and I think getting in on features more, I have been able to help, with some of the writing as it relates to profiles of executives or coming up with like a sidebar, writing up about an event so that, I think all those skills are have come in handy,
Mhm.
but the deadlines aren't insane.
That's good enough for anyone pursuing that career path, that that's something that
Yeah.
they'd have to navigate. So, as you kinda started at Variety, what was your first pinch me moment? Or, like, an event that you did or someone that you got to work with where you were like, "Oh my gosh, my job is amazing," or "This is amazing."
I mean, the one that will stick with me is, it was good and bad at the same time because I think it might have given me I feel like there was a lot of stress, but we at the time, our company, we have new ownership, but at the time, we had connections in with the UK, and my directive was, "We need to produce a conference for Prince William and Kate,"
Oh my
and
gosh.
I know, and it was like at the time, they wanted to show that the UK was a place for investment, and they just kind of wanted to make connections with the tech world, look at the UK to kind of start your business. And so I had to put this event together, and it was stressful because the firm, what they call themselves, they were like, okay, they're going to come, Prince William and Kate, but they're not going to speak. And I'm like, well, what are they going to do? Are they just going to sit in the audience? That seems weird. And they're like, no, no, no. They're just going to sit on stage and they're going to have like people, be interviewed and they'll just sort of listen. So it was just really
Mm,
wacky because it wasn't what I normally do for like these
yeah.
sessions, but it was so exciting and it came together. And I think at one point I started just telling speakers in order for them to say yes. I'm like, off the record, these two people are coming, but you can't say anything. Just trust me, they're going to come. And so I was able to book speakers. And what
Oh my
was really neat,
were they
yeah,
excited when you were, like, telling them? You're like, "Can't don't tell
you
anybody,"
just
but
can't say anything or else I'll lose my job. You can't say anything, but, you have to have trust. So
yeah.
people came and we ended up having kind of a VIP section for the speakers to meet Kate and William, and they were lovely. They're really sweet. And I'm like, "What?" And I think I
Aw.
even said, like, "Why didn't you guys speak? You're, like, so awesome." And it was just there's different rules with the royal family,
Okay, but you got to
but
meet
I still
them.
don't understand.
But you got to meet them, Suzanne?
I did get to meet them.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
this
that's so
was
cool.
a ways ago. But they were lovely, and I don't know if I'll ever have that kind of experience again. But I think that also was good because I think if I can get through that level of stress, I can get through anything.
Yeah.
We're since under new ownership. Jay Pinsky has since come and now owns Variety and a number of other entertainment and media brands, and we've just exploded. I think even since that time to where we just are doing, so much, but it's
Amazing.
all exciting. And I think you mentioned it earlier. I have been at this company for a long time. And I think it's because I'm able to be so creative. And even if it's a franchise, for example, our entertainment marketing summit, I think is one of our hottest tickets. And I want to say it's coming up on 10 years. So
Oh,
that's like,
wow.
so every year you have to like come up with something different, but also give people what they want. And it's just kind of finding those kind of like small angles of what's new in marketing every year. Um, and kind of also just keep an eye out for hot executives that are new in their job. Just so you want your people that were attending last year to come again. So I think that's what makes
Yeah.
it exciting every year.
That's amazing. Well, while we're on that topic, like we had mentioned, you've been at one company for a very long time.
Yeah.
And especially with younger generations, you see that less and less, right? I feel like I hear all the time, like, right, to get a pay raise, you have to leave. Like, you have to leave your job every 2 years.
Yeah.
And it just feels like the more time passes, like the shorter amount of time you're quote unquote supposed to stay at a job. So with you and your time being at, I'm sure obviously there's a ton of amazing reasons why you decided to stay there for so long, but what was like the biggest driver for you or from your perspective on choosing to stay with one company for that many years?
And I think it was just the freedom they gave me to build something within a company where they gave me, you know, I guess in being somewhere longer, they trust you more. And
Mhm.
through trust, there's more freedom to create and build, and just like you're off to the races. And I am not the only one that's been at Variety for a long time. There's a number of others. I'm gonna call out someone that I work closely with on conferences. Her name is Lindsay Elfenbein, and she's been with me over 10 years. I think I'm not sure, someone once gave me advice that sometimes it's good to just like look within your organization and kind of strengthen relationships within the organization to see where you can make the most impact, because in a way that can just can be fulfilling
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And
on a
networking,
personal and business level. Yeah.
yeah, networking internally just as much as you're going to try to grow your network outside of the company, like do the same internally.
Yeah.
And that can also help you, yeah, grow. And like you said, like your role's been exciting because it hasn't been the same and it's grown and it's changed and you found autonomy and you found like a space for you that you really love.
Yes. So it's been great. And I think now we're talking about how we can grow our live media internationally. So
So that's
that's
another
one of
big
the
project,
goals.
another new thing.
So we go to, I mentioned Can Lion is probably the biggest one that I'm involved with that's out of the country, that brings a bunch of marketers
Mhm.
together for meetings and to celebrate their creativity. But I'm looking, it'd be fun to go more places.
Yes, just the beginning. And also probably personally fun for you to get to do a nice work
Yes.
trip
Yes.
out of the country too. So let's say that somebody is you. They're the you at their company, but they're maybe a bit earlier in their career. They haven't reached VP status yet, but they're tasked with getting amazing people for their events. Do you have any advice for somebody that's maybe a bit newer or greener to this space since you've been there for quite some time and I'm sure have got lots more experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just say don't be afraid to pound the pavement and go to events yourself to meet people, because once you have relationships, they're going to trust you and they will be more likely to say yes if they know who you are. You also, I think what some of our team has been doing as well is they've been creating kind of basic newsletters and sending them out to their contacts, just sort of a rundown of like different things Variety is doing. So that could be something, just sort of a fun, this is what in case you missed it, this is what I've been up to, or events that I've been producing. You should be a part of it. That could be would be fun for me to see if
I
you
like
were
that
trying to get me
idea.
to speak it on something.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And I feel like all roads lead somewhere in this world of connecting with people.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I love that. All right. So now kind of getting to hear a bit more about that side of like what programming looks like, what producing that looks like, and also just really curious to hear that that is something that Variety does because I actually wasn't familiar with that. I am curious to hear on the partnership side. So something that I feel like all of us, I mean, I know for the marketing girlies and I think all of us as consumers, it's always fun to see two brands that we love collaborate and
Oh
do
yeah.
things together. I just always feel like it's so exciting to see what comes through in that. I know you mentioned Canva as well,
Canva. I love
but
Canva.
can you draw the line to me? So like why would Variety, because I can maybe see it like you mentioned, oh, from Canva's side, it's helping
Yeah.
reach from Variety, but like
So
what does Variety look for in, or
why do
what
they
is
want look to Variety? Yeah.
exactly.
So Canva, they kind of see Variety to help their enterprise division. They want more companies using Canva. They want more entertainment companies using Canva for their design, Disney, Warner, Netflix, NBC. And so they feel like Variety, I will say confidently, we're the number one source for entertainment business news. So
Mhm.
the studios and networks are really closely tied to Variety. Our most recent partnership, they took out kind of a really fun beach activation in Can Lion, and they were doing different programming. And Variety came in, and we kind of did a program called Variety in the C-Suite, and we paired two CMOs on their stage, moderated by Variety, on different things as power of storytelling, brand loyalty, different topics. And it was fun for variety because we were doing this in front of a live audience at Cannes Lion, and even the space um, on the beach was fun. It had both of our brand logos pretty visible. So it's a really proud moment.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then we've also done things on a smaller scale with folks such as Meta and Amazon ads.
Okay, that's super interesting to kind of hear the behind the scenes and
Yeah.
stuff that like yeah, most of us maybe wouldn't know. Okay, so kind of going into obviously now you've grown a lot in your career, you've been at Variety for a while. What is your advice to somebody who's been at a company for a couple years and might be feeling a little bit stuck? Do you have any advice on how someone should know if they can, do something at the current company to be able to keep growing there or maybe when it's time for
Yeah.
them to leave?
I would say that you just have to have an open line of communication with your colleagues, with your boss, and you need to just feel comfortable telling them what you want to do and just see where that path could be. And if it's something where, it's okay to be patient. If it seems like it's kind of a weird economic environment, but your boss is able to lay out, if you do these things, this is how you can grow. Um, that's great. I would say another way that I've enjoyed growing at Variety is through mentoring some of the younger executives, kind of taking them under my wing and kind of showing them what I've been able to do. I think that's been great as well. But I would just say listen to your heart with any job. If you leave, you can always come back. Like I'm an example of that. And again, it's to me, it's like, it's not even the work that's the most important thing with my job. It's been the people. So just, it's really important to have strong relationships because these people may not be in these jobs, but they're going to be out in your circle. If you're in that same industry, you're going to see these people, and these people if you have those relationships, they're only going to be able to help you grow wherever you end up landing.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And then my last question for you, Suzanne,
Yeah.
any advice for someone who wants to work in the entertainment industry? Anything that you think they should start working on to help them break in?
Yeah. I think people are sick of hearing it, but internships, I know they're low paying, but they are so many people at Variety have been hired where they started as interns. And they might have done like a little wavy road to where they are now. Internships, I would say again, in whatever your field is, going out to summits and conferences
Mm,
is really important. Just getting out of your comfort zone, learning about new things, and just meeting new people. It's like one thing to kind of try to communicate over LinkedIn, but I don't think it really makes the same impact if you're just meeting them in person. I think it's
yeah,
really important. Yeah.
that's amazing. Well, Suzanne, thank you so much for coming on Marketing Girly and sharing your career advice and just like giving us a peek into what it's like to work in your industry. It's been so much fun
Oh,
chatting with you
it's been
today.
really fun chatting with you. This is awesome.